All right, Kristi, how are you today?
I'm well, and you?
Very good, thank you. It's good to see you today. I wanted to set up our interview here by mentioning that you are a proven Ronstad performer. You have worked with us on several temporary assignments over the last 4 years, all extremely successful. So thank you for that. Great client feedback, and now you're looking for your next role, if you will. So you've done a variety of different positions for us, but I would say for the majority of them, they've been accounting based positions.
Yes.
I know that you did do one implementation specialist that was a lot of Excel work, which was pretty deep with pivot tables and lots of data when you were at APCO. Um, you did also like a shipping and receiving type role for us, but majority of them are accounting based. I mentioned APCO because you are stellar with your Excel skills, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, as far as let's talk accounting now, since that's the position obviously that you're mainly interested in.
Right.
So why don't we talk software first? Tell me about the software that you have worked with for accounting.
Okay. I'm currently using Made to Manage, which is the first time I've used it, and it's actually a lot of fun when you get into it. Um, I like using new softwares and learning how things are done in there, and I learn pretty quickly when it comes to something like that. When I was at Alliance, they used something that was specific to them, to I guess the healthcare. So
Proprietary.
yeah, right. So typically when I go somewhere, it's usually industry specific, and I learn really quickly when it comes to that. I've used QuickBooks before, and that's usually very user friendly. So
Mhm.
even as it gets updated through the years and things like that, it usually just gets easier and easier. So hopefully that's how that's working. But um, I I learn fast, and I can usually pick up pretty quick.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about attention, obviously, to detail. So in your
Okay.
previous roles, how do you ensure that all of the invoices are accurate and correct before you process them?
I go over them with a fine tooth comb. So I'm going to look at them, and something that I always remember and I make sure of is that you never pay from anything but an invoice. So when you get a statement in or you get a packing slip or something like that, that's, you don't pay from that. Make sure it's an invoice, accurate dates, accurate information, make sure that it's signed off by a manager or an authorized person, that it's GL coded correctly. If it's not, find out from whoever authorized it, or from the accounting manager, or whoever can give you the proper information from it. Ask questions. If there's ever a doubt, make sure that you ask a question and get the information from it. um, Make sure it's your invoice, make sure it's not another company's. Just go through it, make sure it's all accurate information, make sure there's not a balance forward on it, that you're getting the correct amounts and things like that. So
Okay. And when you were at Alliance, was that high volume?
it was. We had a nursing center, we had assisted living, we had a maintenance department, we had a marketing department. So we had several managers that if invoices came in, I needed to inter-office those invoices over to each department. Those department heads would then GL code them. They would sign off on them that yes, in fact, they were theirs. They would get back to me. I would then input them and have them ready for the accounting manager to approve to pay.
Okay, great. And then when you were at Forefront, that was pretty high volume too.
It was, we would have receivers that we would match to invoices, that also the salespeople would make sure the prices were right, and sometimes they weren't, and there would be adjustments, and then they would be input and again ready for payment.
Okay, great. Um, How would you manage multiple invoices and tasks when there's like a high volume of payment to process? Like, how do you prioritize and meet the deadlines at like maybe month end or quarter end?
I usually do a lot of sorting, and I don't stop until it's done. I have this kind of thing in me that I really don't leave my desk very much. I can't until like it is done. So I just sort and I get everything in order, and I will just have it ready so that it's organized and
Okay.
keep at it.
And here's something we've actually talked about before, but like in your past roles, it could be any role or your current role. This is what we've actually talked about a little bit. Um, have you identified any areas that could be improved or streamlined? And if so, what changes did you suggest?
um, we talked about them.
Well, we talked a little bit about the current software that you were working with.
Oh, maybe with statements.
You were talking about how the software was a little bit outdated, and so it was, causing some challenges.
There were things that the software wasn't making it easy for us to do, so it caused some things that we'd have to do manually.
Yes.
Um, and I actually have to go through things individually. So we're talking about over 100 statements that go out to customers, and I have to go through individually and make adjustments individually to over 100 statements before I can send them. So that's the detail that it takes, but it's worth it because that's the accuracy. You don't want to
Sure.
send something out that's not accurate. So
Yeah, fair enough.
for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
So
Have you ever encountered a situation where you had to delay a payment, or the invoice was disputed, and how did you handle that?
if there's a dispute on it, communication's key. So you want to make sure that you're reaching out immediately because you don't want to incur any kind of fees or anything like that. So as long as you're communicating with the vendor and you've got some kind of either email or phone call and some kind of, and also letting your manager know that something's going on, then you usually can get it figured out. So just definitely communication and also documenting,
Perfect.
documentation.
All right. Well, this part of the interview is going to end, but don't go anywhere because we got a few other
Okay.
things to chat
Okay.
about. Thanks.